When I clicked on Aemeth Resonator Showcase, I was already excited, and not in a blind, impulsive way, but because Kuro has clearly been laying groundwork for this character. Between the earlier teasers, the promotional videos, and the way Aemeth has been framed so far, it really feels like they're building a myth around her. So going in, my expectations wasn't just that this would look good, it was more like, okay, how are they going to deliver on this? And what immediately stood out to me is that the showcase doesn't treat itself like an explanation at all. It feels less like a character introduction and more like a moment taken out of the middle of a much larger story. By the time the showcase begins, Aemeth is already gone. She already became something else, a digital life form existing outside normal perception. Her friends don't know what happened to her. From their point of view, she simply disappeared. And the story doesn't dramatize that disappearance. Instead, it places us in a very mundane, very human moment. Her friends preparing for their graduation. They're stressed, they're distracted, they're focused on small details that feel important when you're standing on the edge of a new phase of life. And throughout all of it, Aemeth is there, quietly helping in the background, fixing things, making sure everything goes smoothly. They don't know she's there, but she's present in every meaningful sense of the word. What I really like about this framing is that it tells you who Aemeth is now, without needing to explain what she became. The showcase isn't interested in mechanics or lore here, it's interested in character. Despite her situation, which is undeniably tragic, Aemeth isn't written as someone defined by loss. She's lively, she's proactive, she still cares deeply about the people around her even when she can no longer be acknowledged by them. That choice matters a lot. Because in a lot of gacha stories, a situation like this would be framed almost entirely through suffering. The character would become a symbol of tragedy first and a person second. But Aemeth isn't treated that way. She's allowed to exist beyond what happened to her, and that's why the final moment of the showcase hits as hard as it does. When her friends casually talk about wishing she was there, when they acknowledge her absence without realizing she's standing right next to them, you see it register on her face, that quiet sadness, that brief moment when she clearly wants to answer, wants to tell them that she's there, but she can't. And the scene doesn't force the emotion, it doesn't linger on it or turn it into spectacle, it just lets that feeling sit for a moment and then moves on. That restraint is doing a lot of work here. It makes the sadness feel human rather than performative. It turns what could have been an overtly tragic scene into something much more grounded, a moment of emotional dissonance that feels painfully real. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized why this showcase works so well for me. It doesn't feel like a standalone piece, it feels like one carefully placed piece of a much larger puzzle. This isn't the story of Aemeth, it's not even the explanation of her condition, it's a fragment, something meant to sit alongside other fragments we'd already seen and others we haven't yet. And that's what makes it feel confident. Kuro clearly isn't trying to front-load everything here. They're trusting that this character would make more sense as the main story progresses, and that this moment will gain additional weight once we have more context. That's a risky approach, but when it works, it's incredibly effective, because instead of telling you how to feel about Aemeth, the showcase lets you form an attachment organically. It gives you just enough to care without closing off future development. And that's where my excitement really comes from. By presenting Aemeth this way, across all the promotional material, not just this showcase, Kuro is setting some genuinely high expectations, not just for this personal arc, but for the upcoming main story as a whole. She feels like a character the story can actually take its time with. And if the story can live up to what's being set up here, Aemeth could easily end up being one of the most memorable characters Wuthering Waves has introduced so far. For now, what I really appreciate is how intentional this showcase feels. It doesn't rush to explain itself, it doesn't try to resolve anything prematurely, it just asks you to pay attention and trust that this is only one part of something bigger. And honestly, as an introduction, that's exactly what I was hoping for. That kind of confidence in storytelling is rare, especially in gacha games, and is why this showcase stuck with me more than I expected. All in all, I can safely say that I'm excited for this new update, and I really hope Kuro can raise to the expectations they set up here. If they do, Aemeth could end up being something genuinely special, not just as a character, but as a part of a much larger story that's clearly being built with care. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you want more analysis like this, consider subscribing. This is what I focus on here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.